The statue of David is one of the astonishing sculptures in the world, and it has been created in the early 15th century. The statue of David is a Renaissance art and also a Greek sculpture that is a representative of the biblical hero of David. The masterpiece has been created by Michelangelo. Michelangelo is an Italian painter, sculptor, and architect. He is considered to be one of the greatest artists alongside other famous artists such as Leonardo da Vinci, Donatello, Raphael, and more. A majority of his works, such as painting, architecture, and sculptures, has been ranked top among other famous art that has ever existed. His best well-known piece of art are the fresco painting, which are on the ceilings of the Sistine Chapel, the Last Judgment on the altar wall, Vitas, and the Statue of David. The stories of Statue of David began in the 14th century. It was started with members of Art della Lanars and overseas officers of Florida Cathedral wanted to create a project consists of 12 sculptures to decorate cathedrals of Santa Maria the Four. Moreover, the Statue of David is one of the 12 figures that they plan to create. So, in order to create this David, they has purchased a blocks of caramel marble from quarries in the northern Tuscany. In 1460, Agostino di Daccio is the first sculptor to sculpt the marble, but unfortunately, he only accomplished a small amount of the statues, and then he stopped working on it. After that, Antonio Rossellino took over the sculptures, but the result is still the same, as it will not succeed in finishing up the statues. As it has been left out for more than 20 years, in the very early 16th century, numerous authorities determined to transfer the marble into the sculpture very quickly, because they want the Statue of David to join other biblical statues, which they had planned to put all the statues together at the roof line of the cathedral. The authorities had lists of artists such as Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael, which they wanted one of the artists to take over the marble and finish up the work. In the end, on 16 August 1501, Michelangelo has been picked to commission the marble. Then he began to work on a giant marble that exuded 5 tons and 5.5 meters high. It took him 2 years to finish sculpting this amazing piece of art. Since the statue weighed more than 5 tons, it was too heavy to be put at the cathedral roof, so they had to relocate and find a new site to place the statues. Then, Florida authorities had created a meeting to discuss about this biblical statue's new location, and they had decided to move the statues to Palazzo Vecchio. The moving process that transfers the Statue of David from Michelangelo's workshop to Palazzo Vecchio took them 4 days with 40 men because the figures is very heavy and so gigantic. In addition, instead of sculpting David after winning Goliath, Michelangelo sculpted the new David before the battle with a confident and relaxing look. David's brow is furrowed, his neck is tan as well as his nose and lip. His watchful eyes are looking at the distance, and veins are overflowed on both sides of his hand, especially his veins on his right hand are clearly visible. He clutches a sling that traps over his shoulders down to his right hand. He stands in a contrast position pose. One of his legs is received all the weight, and his other leg goes forward. David's shoulders and hips are raised at contrasting angle, create a slight S-curve to the whole torso. Moreover, the proportion of the statue is uneven. His head and his right hand are oddly gigantic. His right hand is also a representative of the hand of God. Those proportion is unusually big because of the plan that they had intended to put the figures at the rooftop of the Florida Cathedral, so the important part had to be scribed in the bigger size in order to see from far away. The biblical Call of David is a symbol of the defense, civil liberty, and freedom of Republic of Florence. Republic of Florence, which is the powerful independent city-state, threatened all the other countries and the domination of the Medici family. It was started with the battle between Goliath and the hero of David. Close to the village of Elah, Israelites and Zeus are having a confrontation with the Philistine. A young David accepted a challenge from Goliath bravely. He was not even a soldier, but was just a normal citizen of Israel. Goliath and David then confront each other. Goliath was in his armor and shield. However, David was only with his sling, his five stones, his bravery, and his belief in God. During the battle, David threw a stone from his sling very hard, with all of his strength, and hit the middle of Goliath's forehead, resulting in making Goliath fall to the ground on his own face. David then took Goliath's sword and cut off Goliath's head immediately. Because David had killed Goliath, who was a threat to Israel, he has become a hero that Resident people love. Then David has become a symbol of youthful beauty, strength, freedom, and the defense of civil liberty. The statue of David is one of the most famous sculptures around the world that is a representative of the Italian Renaissance art. It is very amazing on how Michelangelo created an extraordinary sculpture from a brass marble and make it into a wonderful sculpture. People should visit David Michelangelo in Florence, Italy, in order to see how wonderful David is.